Well, the stunning shakeup in college sports continues as two of the best-known brands in college sports, UCLA and the University of Southern California, USC, leave the Pac-12, or they will be doing so, to join the Big Ten in 2024. What does the change mean for student athletes, for fans, for the future of college sports? Got a special insiders panel this week to weigh in on that. Very happy to be joined by Inside Indiana Business Sports contributor Bill Benner, back on this segment, as well as Mike DeCourcy, the senior writer for the Sporting News, also works for the Big Ten Network, and Jake Query, the co-host of Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. And gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
As always, to kind of tee this up, and Mike, I'll start with you. Just a quick reaction when you heard the news that expansion maybe is not that surprising, but to see USC and UCLA come to the Big Ten, what were you thinking?
I have to admit I was shocked that afternoon when that story broke. I was not expecting it. I felt better because some of the guys who covered college football acknowledged that they were shocked too, and this is really a football first deal. That is the biggest component of this. College basketball, my specialty, obviously important, but football drives the bus.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn. I still wish the Big Ten was the Big Ten. My biggest concern is just what it means for the overall landscape of college sports. And, we had Mike on a few weeks ago about name, image, likeness. Where is it all going? Well, I kind of know where it's all going. Right. Follow the money.
Right.
Yeah, my first thought was initially, like everybody here said, like, holy cow, this kind of came out of nowhere. Then my second thought was, surely, geographically speaking, this has to mean that more is coming, and that remains to be seen. I guess my third thought, too, was then finally, after 50-plus years, Bill Benner's dream of seeing Indiana in the Rose Bowl is going to come true, right?
That's a cheap shot. I knew that was coming.
In all honesty, though, I mean, the scheduling remains to be seen, but it is neat to think of the schools from here being able to go play out west. What those schools think about coming and playing in, at Rutgers, I don't know about that.
Right. Okay, additional teams, we'll see how that plays out. The school that everyone's looking at is Notre Dame, and where Notre Dame goes. Does Notre Dame go to the Big Ten? Do they go to another conference? Or
I think inevitably they do, because I think that they will find greater resources being part of that larger consortium than they can generate on their own with NBC as it is now.
They generate a lot of money, obviously, Mike, in the NBC contract, but when you look at the Big Ten network and maybe $100 million plus.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers I've seen for the NBC contract are not overwhelming based on what the other conferences are getting, especially based on what the SEC will get now on its new deal, and then what the Big Ten is expected to get. So I think, in a sense, if you look over a decade, Notre Dame is looking at basically $1 billion decision. Is independence worth that much? I've never really understood their attachment to it as it is. Now, with that big pile of money on there, I don't know why they would stay.
I think one of the things that's interesting about Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is a huge national brand. I mean, we know this. But Notre Dame, more than probably any other athletic program, is steeped and rooted in tradition. And the tradition for Notre Dame of their schedule and the rivalries they have and the ability to be independent. I agree the Big Ten seemingly would be the school that waits out Notre Dame, but the question then becomes, how long does Notre Dame wait it out, or do they feel compelled that they need to join a conference? I agree that I think ultimately they're probably going to have to do so. But Mike, I don't think it's necessarily going to be imminent that Notre Dame joins somewhere.
Yeah, I've said that this decision may be as quick as getting everybody in a conference room. Are we good? We like it the way we are? Yes, no. Then it could be that fast, but it's a lot of money to turn down. And with everybody so hungry for finances in college sports, it would be amazing if they turn it down.
Yeah, the two titans seem to be, the Big Ten and the SEC right now. Jake, I know you follow Clemson, you're a Clemson fan.
I am.
But what's next? I mean, I can't see necessarily the SEC standing pat here while the Big Ten is, gaining their market share from a TV standpoint.
It kind of feels like, Gary, that the Big 12 all of a sudden is the one that's become kind of the cog in this wheel, because the ACC has a television contract that's hard for them to kind of break away from and join alliances, if you will. And it seemed to be almost inevitable that Washington, Oregon, maybe the two Arizonas joined UCLA and USC, and you had kind of this merger of the Pac-12 Big Ten. But that was that's old news. That was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Now the Big 12 suddenly is kind of joining the party and passing out invitations behind everybody's back. And now all of a sudden, some of those schools may join the Big 12. So I think that there's an additional curveball to this that kind of delays things even longer, to the point where maybe the carousels have slowed down a little bit for right now.
Scheduling, as you get these conferences bigger and bigger, do rivalries fall by the wayside?
What most of the leagues are doing is protecting rivalries. I suspect that Indiana, Purdue will be protected as a football rivalry. They'll make sure they play that every year. Ohio State and Michigan, they've protected for years by keeping them in the same division, when competitively it would have made sense to split them and have them potentially meet in the conference championship game. So the key rivalries will be, and I think associated rivalries, like for Michigan, okay, they got to have Ohio State, but they'll also have Michigan State and then one more.
Yeah, but you used to say Texas had to have Texas A&M, and that's not.
But these are still partners we're talking about.
Yeah.
So they'll work that part out. And then the rest of it, there may be times when you don't see particular teams play one another within a conference for multiple years at a time.
You mentioned, Mike, it's driven by football, and basketball certainly in there as well, the two money makers. But what about the Olympic sports and the other sports? How are they impacted by this
and that's
expansion?
another of my big concerns. The Rutgers wrestling team, are they going to go to Los Angeles and wrestle UCLA, or vice versa? The non-revenue sports, they are non-revenue sports, but talking about the student-athlete experience, the quality and the quantitativeness of the student-athlete experience, I hope it's not being sacrificed at the altar of money.
Yeah, I agree with Bill in that regard, though. It's really difficult to travel in the fall, for example, and go through commercial airports and not see a big group of kids with backpacks on, and you look at it and you say, oh, there's the Maryland lacrosse team. Look, football and basketball are traveling privately and chartering. Everybody else is flying on Southwest Airlines and getting delayed, and they've got classes to get to. And I mean, there are a lot of irons in that fire, and that to me is going to be the real trick here, is figuring out the travel of those teams and hoping, to Bill's point, that universities don't say, you know what, that travel is logistically and financially not worth the effort.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say that the one thing that you have to remember, though, is all that money means those sports will remain.
Correct.
Yeah.
They'll continue.
I mean, they're funding it, right.
Yeah, you can't say now, well, we can't have that team because we don't have enough. There's no way you can make that argument. But the thing that I think is getting lost in this conversation, not just here but everywhere, is all this money, does it become part of a professional operation? That's the next frontier for those who advocate for athletes. The ones who brought us name, image, and likeness now want these student athletes to be student athlete employees. They want them to be paid by the schools. Right now, they're getting paid, but by outside interests. Do they now become salaried employees? And that's when the game really changes for everybody.
And I think the student aspect of student athlete, to an extent, let's go to the elephant in the room here, can be compromised when you're talking about, to Bill's point, a wrestler from Rutgers that has to fly to Los Angeles for a wrestling meet, fly back to Rutgers just to get ready to then have to go down and fly to Lincoln, Nebraska, all while he's got a term paper due because he's a student athlete. If you say that you can't have an NCAA tournament football playoff during winter break, mind you, because it takes kids away from class, then how do you justify sending your rugby team from New Jersey to LA and back in the span of 3 days?
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point. Where does this all go? With the conference expansions, with name, image, likeness, all those kind of things, the professional aspect of things. Where do you see, Mike, this ending up, 5 years, 10 years down the road?
Yeah, I think that's the big concern for a lot of schools, is whether they professionalize, have the athletes organize in unions. I know that there have been government agencies that have been advancing that. There was a bill in the California legislature. It hasn't gone anywhere, but it was crafted that to try to force the California schools to pay their athletes as employees, and that would change everything. And then this money difference between the SEC, Big Ten, and everybody else, right now it really doesn't mean that much. It just makes things easier at those schools. But if they become professional, then at that point it affects the competition. It affects whether Clemson can get enough good football players to win in the college football playoff.
You know, I'll bring it home. What happens to Butler? What happens to the mid-majors? What happens to the rest of the Division I? I think Division II, Division III, I think they will continue to exist as they are. But I do wonder how that big tent of Division I, which encompasses so many schools with so many different missions and so many differentials in the size of their scope of their athletic programs, how do they all coexist?
Yeah, and you follow basketball. What about March Madness, the NCAA tournament? How is that impacted?
There is a concern about that, but remember, everything we've seen happen to this point has been about more money. I got to get more money. I can get more money. I have to take it. That money, that's $1 billion a year until I believe 2032. So we're basically looking at it more than a decade out, where that money is guaranteed to come to the schools. Do they really think that they can create an enterprise that will be that lucrative? The NCAA tournament, if you compare it to the rest of its sport, I think the only rival in terms of outsized popularity would be your specialty, the Indy 500.
Right.
The NCAA tournament is here. College basketball is probably here. It's a very popular sport, but it's not nearly as popular as the tournament. So they have to protect that because that's where the money is.
But Mike, I also worry about as the conferences become national and the Big Ten becomes national as opposed to esoterically regional, what does that mean for the conference championships that are so great and so viable to the economy of Indianapolis? The Big Ten basketball championships, the Big Ten football championships. I'm begging the Big Ten. LA's wonderful. It's beautiful. Love Los Angeles. Guess what? Easy peasy right here in Indianapolis. Keep it right here. You can bring whoever you want to the party.
I love that. We're going to end on that note because that's a good one. Jay Query, Bill Benner, Mike DeCourcy. Great conversation. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jerry.
And I'll be right back after.